I welcome you all back to my YouTube channel, and in this lesson I'll be teaching you on how to solve logarithmic equations. So I'm going to make it very simple so that each and every person can try to understand what I'll be sharing. So there are certain steps that we need to follow each time we are solving a logarithmic equation. Step number one. So step number one that you need to follow whenever you are solving any logarithmic equation, you need to make sure that you write the equation in this standard where you say log of base a of f of x should be equal to c. Like this. You need to write it in this way. Then step number two is where you interpret this part. You know that this base should be raised to what is this other side, should be equal to this c should be the power. So you need to write it in the form a power c, which is equal to f of x. Have you seen? You need to write it in that way. So writing it in that way can also mean that you are writing it in this way, where you say f of x should be equal to a to the power c. This is how it should be written. So these two are just the same. Then the last step, which is step 3, is where you solve. In this case, you solve for what? You solve for x. If a question was to come in that way. So these are the 3 steps that we do. These are 3 steps we put into consideration each time you are solving any logarithmic equation. So, for example, let's say you are given this logarithmic equation you are told to solve. So let's say you want to solve. So I'll just give you a few examples. Log base 3 of 7x plus 3 is equal to log base. So log base of 3 of what? 5x plus 9. This is what you are told to solve. How can you solve this? So solving this, you need to make sure that this log comes this side. This log should come this side so that you come up with something that will be in that format. So what you are going to do is this. You are going to say you are having log of 7x plus 3 base 3. When this comes this side, we are going to have minus log what? Minus log 5x plus 9 base 3, which should be equal to, we are going to have a 0 there. So we are going to get a 0 there. So when you reach at this step now, before you go any further, there is something that I would like to share with you. There's something that I want you to get. Before we go any further, you need to get this. You get this. Have you seen? You get this part. You also get this part. You equate to 0. You test the answers. You know that your answer should not be less than this. Your answer should be not be greater than this. So you know that you get, what is that one? That is so that is, I'm going to write it here so that we may understand. That is 7x plus 3. We know that it should be greater than what? It should be greater than 0. This is what we need to do. We know that it should be greater than 0. So meaning that your answer 7x, when you try to solve this, you're going to have greater than what? Negative 3. Which means that x should be greater than negative 3 over 7. Have you seen? Then you also get that other one. So if you get that other one, 5x plus 9 should be greater than 0. Which means that 5x should be greater than negative 9. Which is x is greater than what? Negative 9 over 5. This is what you need to do. So which one is bigger than the other? The one which is bigger than the other is this one. Have you seen? This is bigger than the other. This one. So which means we need to make sure this should be greater than, not equal to, greater than. So x should be greater than negative 3 over 7. Any answer that shall be less than this, then, which means that logarithmic equation has no solution. So once you understand this, everything becomes simple. This is what you need to get and understand. So you express this as a single logarithmic so that it should be easy, and it should be easy for us to understand and what we are dealing with. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to say, since there is minus there, what does minus mean? Minus means you are dividing. So I'll say log of base 3, then I divide these two. This is 7x plus 3 over 5x plus 9, which is equal to what? Equal to 0. I'm going to form something that will look like that. And then we know that, have you seen this one which is there? You say this one raised to the power 0. This one, so this one raised to the power 0. These are the steps that I was showing you that I'm doing here. Have you seen? So I'm doing step 2 where I say this one raised to the power a raised to the power c, then equal to this. So in this case, 3 raised to the power 0, which is now equal to what? That one, 7x plus 3 over 5x plus 9, like this. So this is what you need. Then you know that any number raised to the power 0 is what? Is 1. So this is just the same as there is a 1 here. So 1 there you say over another 1, so that you cross multiply. So when you cross multiply, what are you going to have? This times 1, you're going to have 5x plus 9, which is equal to 7x plus 3, like that. This is what we are going to have. So after reaching this step, you group the like terms. This comes this side, that comes this other side. What you are going to have is that when this one, this comes this other side, you are going to have you seen? You are going to have what? A 3. When a 3 follows a 9, 9 minus 3, you are going to have a 6, which is equal to. So 5, when 5 goes outside, 7 minus 5, you are going to have 2x. You divide both sides by 2. So when you divide both sides by 2, you're going to have x, which is equal to what? 3. So this is your answer. You check. We said the x should be greater than what? Negative 3 over 7. Is this greater than that? Yes. So meaning that this is the correct answer. Like this, you are done. So you need to make sure that it should be greater than that. So these are things you need to do. These are procedures that you need to follow. So I want you to understand each and every concept that I'm sharing with you, each and every concept that I'm teaching you. So let us now look at another example. We look at the last example. Then you won't fail to answer any question. So this thing here, very important. Before you start solving, you need to check this. You need to make sure that you check this part. So this is what you need to do. This is what you need to understand. Let us now go to the other part. Let us now go to the other part. So the other part, this is a question that we are going to discuss. We'll be discussing through this question. So this is how the question is. I want you to understand it. Ln 3x is equal to ln 4x plus 1 plus ln 1 minus x. This is another question that we have. How can you answer this question? How can you answer this question? Before you start answering this question, the first thing that you need to do, so there are certain steps that I'm going to skip because I've shared something to you. So, and you know how to solve certain things. So like you need to get this part. Have you seen? you get this part. So when you get this part, what are you going to have when you get this part? So which means 3x, you're going to say 3x should be greater than what? Greater than 0. 3x should be greater than 0. We also move to the other part. We move to the other part. So when we move to the other part, we say that in this case, what are we saying? So which means that what is the value of x? X is greater than what? 0. So this is, I've answered that. I move to that one. 4x plus 1 should be greater than what? Greater than 0. So if you solve this, what is your answer? The answer that you are going to get to be x is greater than negative 1 over 4. You've also solved that one. Then you move to that one. So when you solve that, what will be your answer? So when you solve that, you discover that x will be what? X will be less than 1. I believe you know how to solve that. Maybe there is a person who doesn't know how to solve that. So that is 1 minus x greater than 0. So negative x is greater than negative 1. Since we are dividing by a negative, it means that the sign will change. So x will be now what? Less than 1. This is the negative less than 1 that I wrote. So which means that the solution lies between what? We've got 0. We've got this one, negative 1 over 4. Have you seen? Negative 1 over 4, like this. We've got, these are some of the things that we have. So in this case, you know that this is what? Negative. This is a negative answer. Then we know that x should be greater than what? 0. So which means this one and that one are the only answers that are qualifying. So which means our solution lies between, so solution lies in this interval where we say 0 and a 1 there. So lies between this interval. This is where the solution is. So when you reach here now, we start now solving. We start solving. How can you solve that? In which way can we solve that? So what we are going to do is this. This is what you need to do. So you say ln 3x is equal to ln. So when you are adding, it means that you are multiplying these. So it's just the same as 4x plus 1. You are multiplying 1 minus x. You do that. Have you seen? So I want you to get this. After doing this, then the other thing, this one comes this other side. So when it comes this other side, so you are going to have something like ln 3x minus ln 4x plus 1, 1 minus x. You are going to have something that will be in that form. So after having something like that, then you know that this is now equal to what? Equal to 0. You're going to have something like equal to 0. Those are procedures that you get to follow. So now, after doing that, minus means you are doing what? Dividing. So this is the same as ln 3x. Then you say over what? 4x plus 1, 1 minus x, which should be equal to what? Which should be equal to 0. This is what you've remained with. So what does this mean now? What does this mean? What are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? So you know that ln, there is e here. So when I just say ln, which means there is e there, which is invisible, there is e there. Which means that e will be raised to the power 0, then which will be equal to what? Equal to this whole thing here, which is 3x over 4x plus 1. Then I say 1 minus x, like this. This is what you are going to do. These are procedures that we follow. So after reaching here, what you need to do next is now you start solving now. The solving should now start. So you know that this one, anything raised to the power 0 is 1. So what you are going to have here 1, then you cross multiply. What you are going to have will be something like this. This is 3x should be equal to 4x plus 1 minus x, like this. This is what you are going to do. So after doing this, you expand this part to make sure that you expand this part. So when you expand that part, what are you going to have? You are going to have 3x is equal to. So when you try to expand this, you start the expansion, you are going to have something like 4x minus 4x squared plus 1 minus x when you expand this. Then when you work out this, what you are going to have will be something like this. When you work out everything, you are going to have negative 4x. You are going to have negative 4x minus 1 equal to 0. When you work out, you know that this, when this comes that side, you are going to have negative x. When a negative x, this is negative positive x, so that one will go. Then this one, when it comes that side, you're going to have negative x. So this is what we are going to have. This is what we are going to come up with. So I want you to understand this, and I want you to get this. So let me just check if I've made a mistake somewhere. So here, this one, when this one comes this side, we are going to have so when this one comes this side, we are going to have negative x. That one goes that side, we are going to have so negative x 0 0. So this should be a 1. This one is supposed to be a 1. We need to make sure that that one is a 1. So this is what we need to do. So when we have this, so then we group the like terms. How do we group the like terms? We say this goes aside, we are going to have so let me just cross. We are going to have something that will look like this. We are going to have something that will definitely look like this. This is what we are going to have, something like this. Have you seen? This goes aside, we're going to have 1 is equal to 4x squared. So this is supposed to be a squared, this one. So when you reach here, then you say divide by 4, divide by 4. You're going to have x squared is equal to 1 over 4. Introduce the square root, introduce the square root. You're going to have x is equal to 1 over 2 or negative 1 over 2. Have you seen? Then we know that the answer should lie in the interval. Which interval? 0 to 1. So between these two answers, which one is correct? This one or that one? What is the answer there? Is this one. This is negative. So the answer for that is 1 over 2. So if you solve this one, x, therefore, x is equal to 1 over 2. This is your answer. So this is what you need to do. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.